When the teacher found out his daughter had a crush on the poorest boy in her class, he started driving after the boy every day, following him home. But even with his car going 20 miles per hour, he still couldn't catch up. Soon the boy noticed and warned him to stop following. The teacher admitted the kid could really run, but the boy only repeated his warning, stop tailing him. At the time, the boy had no idea that his running speed would one day change his life. White used to be a high school football coach. One day during a meeting, a mischievous player interrupted him. Angry, White threw a cleat right at the kid's face. That incident cost him his job, and he ended up in one of the poorest small towns in California. At first, the local school didn't want to hire him. After all, word had spread that he'd been fired for hitting a player. But because the school was desperate for teachers, White became their new PE coach. On his very first day of class, 3 students walked right out in front of him. Their parents were calling from outside, telling them to come home and work in the fields. That weekend at the grocery store, White saw a few of his students drinking from a water hose. He stopped to talk to them and learned they'd been up since 5 a.m. washing cars for cash, and then spent the rest of the day working in the fields. On school days, they finished farm work at dawn, then rushed to class. Another teacher explained to White that most families here were poor Mexican immigrants, living off farm labor for generations. Even if a kid got into college, the tuition was out of reach. One day, White noticed something else. These kids could run fast, and they didn't tire, even after lap after lap. After school, he watched one boy run all the way home. His daughter told him the boy's name was Valdez. The next day, White gathered Valdez and 5 others. He told them he wanted to train them for cross country. The boys trained hard. Danny, the heavy-set kid, fell far behind, but he never gave up. Soon they entered an invitational meet. White paid out of his own pocket for matching uniforms and running shoes. At the start, Valdez easily outpaced the other team. Frustrated, they tried blocking him in, but Valdez was built solid, he pushed through. Still, once they hit the uphill stretch, Valdez lost his lead and dropped all the way to last place. The team finished dead last. Danny trailed far behind, but White didn't blame his runners. Instead, he took the loss on himself, saying it was his fault for not scouting the course. He hadn't realized there was a hill, and since they'd only trained on flat ground, the boys weren't ready. But White reminded them, their future wasn't going to be defined by just one race.